Hello, everyone. I'm Kai Gomez, founder of Swarms, the enterprise-grade production-ready multi-agent orchestration framework. We basically help enterprises, developers to orchestrate agents and get agents to work with each other to automate entire teams at an organization or to build fluid and simple agentic-facing user applications. Today in this tutorial, I'd like to show you how to leverage the concurrent swarm or the concurrent workflow. And basically what this is it essentially enables you to run multiple agents at the same time in a very efficient manner. So if I go here to the swarms documentation, you can see how this works. So in a parallel swarm or a concurrent swarm, basically what happens is you have one task, and this one task is being sent to multiple agents at the same time. And so this first agent will receive the task, second agent, third agent, fourth agent. They'll all receive the task at the same time. They could be configured differently. They can have different prompts, but they're all going to complete that same task. And so this is very important because if you have a concurrent swarm, you could do multiple things at a time. You could do, depending on how many agents you have, you could do 100 things at a time. You could do 1,000 things at a time. There's no real limit to how many things you could do at a time, unless you're bounded by compute. You are bounded by compute in this situation, but you have a task and you could build any number of agents and execute those agents for. So in this tutorial, I'm going to share how to do this with you. First step is to pip install swarms. So you go here, you do pip3 install swarms. Let me zoom in so you can see that. Just pip3 install swarms. You just run that. You'll get your swarms downloaded. And then next is the .env. The .env is where you put your environment variables for your API keys and things like that. So for this section of the tutorial is mostly going to be dependent on what models you're using. So it depends on if you're using Claude, then you put your Claude Anthropic API key. If you're using OpenAI, then you put your OpenAI key in your .env file. I'm not going to open it up because I have my keys there, but if you just make a new folder, pip install swarms, you put your env key there, it'll all work as expected. And so now onto the code portion of the tutorial. Let's get into it. So the first step is to import. So this is get your packages. So you have to import from swarms, import agents, concurrent workflow. This will basically fetch the agent structure here. And then the next step after that is to build your agents. So you can customize your agents to do whatever task you want. For the sake of this example, this is a market researcher, and we have a couple of other agents. But for the agent configuration, there's a bunch of settings, but the ones that we're using here is the name. So we're going to give each different agent a name, its own unique name. Then we're going to give it a prompt, a system prompt. The prompt is very important. The prompt basically teaches it what to do and how to do it. So that's very important. It could be long, it could be short. If you want to see good examples of the system prompt, you can go to the marketplace below, the Swarms marketplace, and you'll see examples of good prompts. Then here you have the model name. So the model name is extremely important. The model will determine, how well the model does. And so here we're using Claude 3 Sonnets. You could choose OpenAI. You could use GPT 4.1 if you wanted, like this. So you could do GPT-4.1, or you could do other models as well. Like you could do something like this, O3 Mini, and that would also work. So yeah, you could choose any model provider. We have, OpenAI, Claude, Anthropic, Cohere, Grok. Everybody. So I'll link documentation so you can check out how to do this with other model providers. But yeah, so you put your model name there, and then the max loops will basically determine how many internal loops this one agent will go for. So yeah, if we set this to 10 here, this agent will now loop 10 times within itself, and it'll give the final answer to the other agents. And so we're not going to do that here, but in cases where you need lots of thinking, lots of analysis, I would personally recommend to use that feature. And then you have the temperature here. The temperature basically is a metric from 0.0 to 1.0 on basically how creative the model should be. We also have a very interesting feature that we pioneered called dynamic temperature. So if you set dynamic temperature on, it'll just randomly choose temperature from 0.0 to 1.0, and we find that this works pretty well. So instead of just putting the temperature, we can just turn that on, and all these different agents can have different configurations. You see here we have the financial analyst. We could change this model to be GPT 4.1 if we wanted. So it doesn't need to be all one model. It could be Claude GPT 4.1. And then this could be, maybe this could even be a Kimi K2. But Kimi K2 has, I just did a tutorial on this, but Kimi K2 has a short context window. So, yeah, I don't know if that will work. And yeah, so once you build your agents, this will take some time. You can build the prompts, by yourself. You can find pre-made prompts in the Swarms marketplace. You could tell Cursor to build the prompts for you. That's something I do quite frequently. So yeah, that's one thing. And then here you'll create a list of agents. So you create a list of agents. You just put the variable name for all these agents there. And then here's where we actually get started with the concurrent configuration. So we give this a variable name. Here we call it router. The concurrent workflow, we give it a name. We can also give it a description. And then we pass in the list of agents. We also define the number of loops at a swarm level. So the swarm level loops, max loops, and the agent level loops are completely different. They're very, very different. So this is like the whole swarm. This is all the agents that will run again. So keep that in mind. And then here we have a nice dashboard that can help illustrate the examples here. And so here we could basically choose the task. So we could say here, like what are the best 3 ETFs for energy in the US. So you can customize this however you wish. This is the task parameter. This is like the main entry point for the swarm, or like the main thing the agents are going to work on. So yeah, you just put that there, you give it a task, and then you could also choose the output type here. So depending on what type of outputs you want, you could choose what type of output. So natively it's going to output a dictionary. But you could also choose the other output types. So here you could choose, a list, dictionary, string, JSON, YAML, XML, base model, and there's a bunch of other ones. So you could custom choose how you want the multi-agent system to output its final response. So finally, we're going to run this. Just by running this, we're going to pull this up, and then we'll see the interface. So there's only 3 agents within this multi-agent system, and it's going to run, and we'll see the user interface here. So as a market specialist, I can provide you with an analysis. So energy sector, SPDR fund, XLE, one of the largest and most popular energy ETFs with over $30 billion in assets. Tracks the energy select sector index, which includes companies from subsectors like oil and gas. Top holdings include ExxonMobil, Chevron, ConocoPhillips, and Schlumberger. Vanguard Energy tracks the MSCI US Investable Market Energy 2550 index, which covers stock across the energy sector, and yada yada yada. And yeah, that's a simple example is the concurrent workflow. You can have the concurrent workflow is mostly really good for operations that require you to generate multiple responses to a specific task and then evaluate those responses afterwards. It's also really good for analyzing stocks or doing multiple things at a time. Let's say you wanted to analyze 100 stocks at a single time. You could do that with the concurrent workflow. So yeah, the concurrent workflow is a pretty good way of just scaling up the number of activities agents can do. So yeah, if you would like to learn more about the implementation and documentation of the concurrent workflow, I would highly recommend that you go to our documentation here and you check out the docs and start building your concurrent multi-agent systems. And yeah, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed the video, please star fork and contribute to the Swarms GitHub. We're almost at 4,000 commits, so that's going to be crazy. It's almost been 4 years since we started building Swarms. So, and we have now over 5,000 stars. So that's really cool. If you could help us with more stars and fork and contribute, that would massively help us. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, and yeah, have a good day.